Have you heard about Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill? It just passed. This legislation might reshape your life. Stay tuned as we uncover what it contains and who benefits. Let's discuss it in more detail. First up, Medicaid is under threat. New work requirements will make millions ineligible for coverage, especially parents and younger adults. States will face reduced federal funding. As a result, they might cut coverage or increase costs. The Congressional Budget Office estimates 12 million Americans could lose insurance by 2034. Next, let's look at SNAP, the Food Assistance Program. Major changes are coming. Adults aged 55-64, veterans, and parents of older kids need to meet new work requirements. If they don't, they lose benefits. This could force states to limit eligibility or leave the program entirely. Now, onto the Affordable Care Act. Automatic re-enrollment is gone. Tighter paperwork might kick millions off health plans. For low-income families, losing health care can be devastating. What about taxes? Trump's bill extends his 2017 tax cuts. The average household will save $2,900. However, the top 20% will receive over 60% of the benefits. The richest save $12,500. The poorest? Just $150. That's about $12.50 per month, barely enough to fill the gas tank. Seniors and students will feel the pinch too. Seniors may see a boost in temporary tax deductions. However, they face cuts in Medicaid services. For students, loan forgiveness options will decrease and borrowing limits will tighten. Additionally, parents might face new constraints in helping with tuition. Funding priorities have shifted. The bill allocates $46.5 billion for the border wall and $45 billion for ICE enforcement. Meanwhile, it cuts renewable energy tax credits far sooner than planned. Elon Musk has criticized these decisions as harmful to our future. And here's something new: a Trump account for every baby born from 2025 to 2028. Each will receive a $1,000 investment account, with parents able to add $5,000 yearly. However, this money is locked until they turn 18. It's not helpful when parents can't afford diapers today. Temporary perks come with the new bill too. Tipped and overtime workers can deduct significant amounts until 2028. However, buying an electric vehicle means losing the $7,500 tax credit by this September. What about immigrants and colleges? The bill restricts benefits for many immigrants and introduces new fees for basic programs. Elite colleges will see a hefty endowment tax. It's worth noting that the bill adds $3.3 trillion to the national debt, leading to higher interest rates on loans. So, who truly benefits from this bill? The wealthiest Americans, earning over $217,000, will gain the most. Middle-class families may see around $1,800 in tax cuts. However, for struggling families, the mere $150 won't offset rising costs. In summary, this bill heavily favors the rich while leaving middle and lower classes to deal with cuts and rising expenses. We are witnessing a shift in how opportunity is distributed, primarily upwards. As we wrap up, consider how this bill impacts you. The wealthy gain, while the rest face a tough road ahead. It's crucial to stay informed and ask the necessary questions. Now, before we end this video, let's hear it directly from the American people about Trump's big, beautiful bill. Let's take a look.
Big beautiful bill, Medicaid cuts. I'm for it because I'm an able-bodied American citizen right now. I'm headed to work. I work at least 40 hours a week. I'm good with that. I'm not an immigrant that I can't prove my citizenship to get free benefits. I'm good with that. All these changes for Medicaid, y'all talking about people going to be losing so much Medicaid. What about us? We go to work every day. We took our kids to daycare. My kids take her kids to daycare so that she can go to work. People need to stop just getting free benefits. If you can go to work, you need to go to work. If you're here illegally, you need to become legal and then see if you qualify for benefits. And if you don't, then you don't get our benefits. In order to get those benefits, I'm glad that they're changing the eligibility requirement test or whatever to twice a year. That needs to happen because we're tired of paying for everybody. So Medicaid cuts, we're here for it.
Well, you just couldn't call, could you, Magus? You just couldn't help out a few thousand or million people who are going to go hungry and are going to live in the fucking streets. Thanks, MAGA. Thanks a whole hell of a lot. Because most of the goddamn people live in your fucking states.
The big, beautiful bill. Everybody been asking me my perspective on it. And as y'all know, I'm an honest guy. I haven't spoken on it because I've started to read it and realized that shit is like a Harry Potter book. So everyone out here talking about it didn't even read the bill. I promise you, they didn't. So all they're really doing is fear-mongering and listening to what the opposite side is talking about it on the news. Just bringing up all the negatives. But I will say there's a few things I did see. But of course, I said I'm nowhere near finishing the whole bill because, like I said, it's a Harry Potter book, and it's probably going to take me a minimum of 2 to 3 months to read it all. Because I'm talking about they got chapter after chapter, and then within the chapters, they have like hyperlinks, bro, that opens up to a whole nother chapter. But one good thing I did see from at least the parts that I did try to read was a chapter called Families Over the Elites. And that alone should tell you why a lot of people in the quote-unquote legal system has been trying to prevent from passing. Because it clearly states how they're taking power away from the elites and placing it into families. Like, literally, that's what the whole thing really is about. And restructuring the system on how the way it should have been, like I've been explaining this whole time. So at the end of the day, it can't be nothing negative coming from it. Because look around right now, everything is negative, bro. Wake up and want to change. And stop begging for your own demise. This shit is crazy. But yeah, like I said, anyone you hear talking about that big, beautiful bill, they're just fear-mongering, bro. They didn't read shit. Anyways, quick rant. Y'all know how I keep it. Y'all be gods. Peace.
Big, beautiful bill Medicaid cuts. I'm for it because I'm an able-bodied American citizen right now. I'm headed to work. I work at least 40 hours a week. People need to stop just getting free benefits. If you can go to work, you need to go to work because we're tired of paying for everybody. So Medicaid cuts, we're here for it.
It's my mother-in-law. She worked 40 hours a week too at the same company for 32 years, and she was union, and then she got brain tumors and she lost her health insurance because if you're not working, you're gonna lose your health insurance, and then Medicaid and Medicare kick in. Every single person is one tragedy away from having to be on Medicaid and Medicare. You're one brain tumor, one car accident, and for you specifically, looking at you, I can tell you're one heart attack away from needing Medicaid and Medicare. Now, I know that you think everybody that's on them is lazy illegals, but guess what? One day, you're gonna need it and you're not gonna have it. And it's not you that's paying everything. It's people like me, the younger generation, that are paying for that for you, for her. Now, thank God that she had successful children that can subsidize her way of life, because Medicare and Medicaid, it don't cover it all. You're going to be in poverty forever, and you're going to lose your house, you're going to lose your home, you're going to lose everything that you ever worked for, and you're going to have to move in with your kids. So I hope that you have fucking rich kids, because you just made that little tiny entitlement that you're going to need fucking smaller. I would like people like you to think of the future. You're going to need it. For you, it's probably going to be a couple years, all right? Because I could tell you've probably been eating butter and fried chicken for the last 20 years.
I don't care who you are, dog. This bill will affect you in some capacity. We are increasing the national debt by over $4 trillion over the next 10 years. They are completely decimating Medicaid. Over 15 million people are set to lose their health care within the next 10 years. They're reducing the general budget for health care by 10 to 15%. meaning hundreds of hospitals have the potential to close over the next few years. Our insurance premiums are going to rise by an estimated 10 to 15%, and they're already sky high. We are completely backpedaling on EV tax credits, expanding fossil fuel development, and nuclear incentives. It's just a mess. There's so much going on in this bill. It's literally 940 pages, so there's a lot more to even cover, and I will probably be here for an hour covering it. Long story short, you're going to have less money in your pockets. The crazy thing is, if you've been paying attention, we knew this was coming. The writing has been on the wall the whole time. Like, ain't shit funny about losing your health care and having less money in a world where the prices on everything are increasing rapidly. It's like we always say, the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. And this is a clear indication of that. It's just crazy all the lies they try to feed us. All year they be talking about, oh, we saving money, Doge this, Doge that. Just to turn around and give us some big, beautiful bullshit.
I'm not MAGA, please don't scroll. I have a moral compass and a soul, and I woke up super frustrated because of all this big, beautiful bill stuff. It's like having flashbacks of that thing we went through not too long ago that cost over 1 million American lives. Just trying to tell people to protect themselves, protect their loved ones, even people that we don't necessarily agree with or even like. They sure as hell don't like us. And we watched countless family members of theirs pass away due to that horrible pandemic. And now you've got countless MAGA influencers all over the web rooting for the big, beautiful bill because Donald Trump supports it 100%. Even though the very same things that all these MAGA influencers and MAGA members of Congress railed against Biden for, not putting America first, increasing taxes to the middle class, you don't get your no tax on tips, and the no tax on overtime is so specific, you're still going to be taxed on overtime. But not only that, for your own self-serving purposes, your rural hospitals in your red states, your senior living assisted facilities, they're going to be shut down. Because in red states, they all rely on Medicaid and Medicare to function. This is going to affect everyone, red and blue states. But red states, your governors and your members of Congress and your state legislator all lie to you. Y'all do not have the state budget to finance your own healthcare programs. Your mothers, your fathers, your sons, your daughters, your nieces, your nephews, your brothers, your sisters, they all rely on one or all of the programs that this big, beautiful bill is going to cut. And the MAGA influencers out there, the Charlie Kirks, are being paid handsomely to tell you that's not true. This bill is big, but mark my words, there's absolutely nothing beautiful about it. This is not America first. And you know what? Even if you're MAGA and you can't stand me, an independent progressive, I still don't want to see bad things happen to you or your family. Because an actual patriot has concern for all Americans. Donald Trump isn't a patriot. We lost over 1 million Americans and he treated it like it was just another Tuesday. If any pro-Trump online or TV personality is telling you to support this thing, they don't care about you, MAGA. Real patriots care about you. Even though all this MAGA stuff, this hate, this police state has given us every single reason in the book not to. I have said and will continue to say, Republicans are welcome at my table anytime, even if we disagree. And there should be a shared mutual respect as Americans. Not MAGA. MAGA's a lie. And every single voice supporting this thing is being paid to lie.
10 things I hate about the big, beautiful Bill Act that very unfortunately passed Senate today. And here's what it means for the normal American person. First, 11 million people will most likely be cut from Medicaid. Second, grad school, medical school, dental school, law school, all capped at $150,000 in loans. That's all you get. So if you're not rich, you don't get to make those professional degrees part of your upward mobility. Not an option for you. 3, tax breaks for the rich. The top 1% will save thousands in tax breaks, while someone making $80,000 a year may save a couple of hundred. 4, Hospitals will be getting less funding from Medicaid. The reimbursement will be lower, which means less money to the hospitals paying for care, which means longer wait times, less staff, and overall worse experience for all of our patients. This will especially affect the rural hospitals and those safety nets who take a lot of patients without insurance and who really depend on Medicaid reimbursement. And if that's not worse, let's look at number 5. 1 in 4 children who benefit from SNAP benefits and food stamps, yeah, they're going to be cut. 1 in 4 children. We're taking food from children. 6, Medicaid bans for abortion and gender-affirming care. So if you have private insurance, if you can afford that, that's fine. You can go ahead and get those treatments, but poor people will not be able to. So you're going to have that baby, and then you're not going to be able to get the food stamps for it, and you're not going to be able to get the Medicaid insurance. So that's what we're doing to people. Those on the Affordable Care Act, those who have Obamacare or whatever you want to call it, yeah, that's getting more expensive too, and harder to get. Number 8, more red tape for the poor. So people are going to have to reapply and do more paperwork regularly for Medicaid. However, those who are rich get tax breaks with no extra work, or very least minimal extra work for their tax person. Number 9, not only are hospitals getting less funding from Medicaid, but so are individual providers, once again making them less likely to want to take the insurance from Medicaid patients, meaning that they will have less access to health care, once again hurting anyone who is not rich. And my favorite, number 10, it adds $3.3 trillion to America's debt. This isn't saving us money, it's adding to our debt. You're cutting money from poor people and you're giving it to the rich and you're adding to the overall deficit. So if you stuck around for this whole video, this is the time to act. The bill now goes to the House to get voted on, and we do not want this to happen. So call your representatives, share this video, peacefully protest, share your stories and experiences. Talk about why you're on Medicaid. Talk about how that's helped you. Real people's stories helps a lot more than statistics. We have to get through this together.
The president today delivered a very stark warning to Republicans who are considering voting against his agenda and that so-called one big beautiful bill. Here's what he told me as he left the White House.
For Republicans that are not yet on board.
I think it would be very wise for them to get on board. If they don't do it, look, they'll suffer the consequences.
So the Senate squeezed the one big beautiful bill through yesterday with a 50-50 split, and J.D. Vance cast the deciding vote. The House is going to take up the amendment throughout this week, and the public approval rating on this bill is now hovering at around 24%. So not a super popular bill. Now, this package makes the 2017 Trump tax cuts permanent, adds a range of new tax breaks, and pays only a fraction of these cuts with program cuts, meaning at least $2.4 trillion will be tacked onto the debt over 10 years, and up to $5 trillion if the temporary provisions are inevitably extended. But this bill also harms the U.S. from a geopolitical and foreign policy standpoint. First and foremost, clean energy support is where the bill hits the hardest. The bill phases out or repeals nearly all Inflation Reduction Act incentives for wind, solar, batteries, and hydrogen, while imposing difficult to navigate foreign entity of concern rules that make new projects legally risky, and kills the $7,500 consumer EV tax credit by October 1st, which is one of the reasons why Elon Musk is so upset. Now, analysts estimate the move will strand thousands of projects, erase up to 300 gigawatts of planned capacity, and raise power prices by 8 to 10% on Americans. Those cuts hand China an industrial gift. They already control more than 80% of global solar manufacturing and around 60 to 70% of battery minerals. By hobbling U.S. demand as well as U.S. investment in future green energy technology, just as the Chinese are starting to scale their exports, we're going to cement China's lead in the clean energy race and make it harder for American manufacturers to compete in AI-hungry data center markets. And the reason is because often these massive data centers will have their own power systems using cheap renewables on site. And if we eliminate that, This is going to be a problem, and it gives China a leg up. But that's not all. On the other side of the spectrum here, Moscow benefits. A slower U.S. transition keeps global oil and gas demand higher for longer, propping up the Kremlin's main revenue stream. Meanwhile, and this one actually surprised me, in order to fund the tax cuts, senators slashed planned funds to refill strategic petroleum reserves from $1.3 billion to just $171 million, which is going to leave the stockpile at a 40-year low during Trump's term. This will shrink America's ability to cushion future supply shocks, including those engineered by Russia or OPEC nations in the Middle East. It's also going to make it very difficult to respond to a crisis or war. This is something the GOP hammered Biden on, and they actually campaigned on it and then ended up being worse than Biden on ensuring America's petroleum reserves are ready to go, just as global instability rises. Now, the bill also slashes funding for USAID by nearly 22%, cutting programs that promote global health, food security, and democratic resilience, precisely the areas where the U.S. has long countered Chinese and Russian influence. Cuts to humanitarian aid and disease prevention weaken America's presence in Africa, Southeast Asia, and South America. All regions where Beijing is trying to expand its footprint through the Belt and Road Initiative. At the same time, the bill reduces anti-corruption efforts that will undercut U.S. influence in fragile democracies, opening the space for Russian disinformation and authoritarian entrenchment into their systems. U.S. non-military assistance to key locations that are geopolitically meaningful to the U.S. right now, such as Ukraine, Taiwan, and other Indo-Pacific allies, is being squeezed out, which undermines their long-term resilience just as they face pressure from hostile neighbors that traditionally were our adversaries. Taking all of this together, these USAID cuts telegraph a retreat from global leadership by the United States, and it is one that our adversaries are already racing to exploit, as well as starting to actually be successful in doing so. And we're not even a year into Donald Trump's second term. Beyond China and Russia, the bill creates headaches with allies and trade partners. Europe is preparing to expand its carbon border tariff in 2027. By abandoning all of the climate initiatives, the United States is now inviting automatically triggered European Union levies on American exports, and this weakens trade credibility for the United States. Obviously, Trump will counter with tariffs of his own, which is going to hurt Americans. Now, the new $116 billion foreign corporate retaliation tax and tighter de minimis rules are already drawing warnings of tit-for-tat actions from countries like Canada, other European countries, South Korea, etc., all of which are threatening to fracture multiple supply chain coalitions that the U.S. leans on in order to outcompete authoritarian rivals. Now, the U.S. de minimis threshold is $800, meaning any imported item valued at $800 or less typically can enter the United States without any duties. It's a duty-free, minimal paperwork situation, and it even works for China. Now, this rule helps consumers and small businesses by making low-cost goods cheaper and easier to receive. Obviously, the intent here in this rule was to counter China's flood of cheap goods, but the broad brush that was applied impacts goods from everywhere, including Europe. This is going to hurt small businesses who rely on supplies from places that aren't necessarily our adversaries, including Japan, South Korea, India, even Europe, as I said, or other niche countries where we get very specific products tied to those countries. Even the bill's domestic policies will have additional effects that impact foreign policy and geostrategy abroad. Cuts to multiple social programs, including Medicaid and SNAP, in order to fund tax breaks risks not only the perception of deeper inequality and social unrest within the U.S., but it creates the reality of it. This is actually going to happen. And these conditions give foreign adversaries an opening to exploit online. It's going to be very easy leverage for Russia and China to amplify the divides and growing inequality within the United States. It's a gift we've given them to use. All of this taken together, the deficits, the energy roadblocks, the diplomatic friction with other countries, the destruction of U.S. soft power through aid, and the reduction of social safety nets within the United States all tilt the playing fields towards China and Russia to undercut U.S. influence both at home and abroad, all of which is a gift to our competitors. In short, the bill is everything a superpower should not be doing.
Okay, y'all. It just got really serious right now. And they are not fucking playing right now. So if you're not in 5, I feel sorry for you. Cause your ass might just be cooked for real, twin. And the fact I'm from Louisiana, we Gucci. We got Texas, bud. So everybody else, y'all ass cooked. So do your research. Cause they are not playing right now. And Trump just got granted immunity, bro. Yeah, they just fucking divided us now even more into independent individual jurisdictional courts. And I'm gonna tell y'all why this matters, especially now. Pay attention to that big fat bill, beautiful bill that they trying to pass. Yeah, y'all must ain't heard about what they doing to them damn illegals, bro. They throwing their asses off the coast of the fucking Gulf, wrapping their asses up, DOA, who knows, and chunking their ass off the back of a fucking plane, bro. This shit is insane.
Oh yes, oh yes, oh yes, they both. Oh yes, they both. Oh yes, they both reached for. Let me hear it.
What do you think? Do you agree with what American citizens are saying in the video, or do you have a different perspective? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for watching. Like, share, and subscribe for more updates and insights.